Changing minds one thought at a time.
Greetings and welcome to the Changing Minds Online Empowering Women series. How are you doing today, Jessica?
I'm doing well, Akina. How about yourself?
Oh, I am great. I am super excited about today's topic. Today we are talking about live streaming and how to monetize in 2016 with the wonderful, fabulous Socially Nina. She is a wonderful social media expert, especially in YouTube and, of course, Facebook. So without further ado, please, let's welcome Socially Nina. Hello, how are you, Nina?
Hello, ladies. Thank you so much for having me on. I was so excited that you invited me. I've been looking forward to this interview, so I'm ready to get started.
Awesome. Now, let's jump right into it because, as you know, I know you, and, I definitely adore you, and I am a definite fan of your work. So I know what you do in YouTube and, of course, in Facebook. But let's talk about the live streaming. Can you tell us a little bit about your background in live streaming and why it's important today?
Yeah, as you mentioned, I started off with YouTube videos. It was a great hit for me because a lot of the technical questions that come up with social media and marketing, I really want to show people. I want to show them step by step. So I started doing YouTube videos and recording and pre-recording. Then it went into live Q&As every week and asking questions. And then Periscope and Blab hit back to back. And one of the things that really intrigued me about both of those platforms is that you can reach such a wide variety of people that would have never interacted with you instantly, and you instantly shorten that gap between know, like, and trust. So it really gave me a way to connect with people more and really engage with what they needed from me.
Awesome. Now, I know that a lot of people are branching into the live streaming area, myself included, and, there are so many offers in live streaming. But the one that we're coming to talk about today, of course, is the monetizing piece. So can you talk a little bit more about monetizing and how we can, and the strategy to that?
Yeah, and, it's funny because everyone's talking about profiting and monetizing from Periscope, and you'd be surprised about the tips that actually get you money and the tips that actually convert people from following and lurkers to actually engaging with you. And so one of the things before we even talk about the steps to do it is social media in general. You can't keep your tribe, your followers, your people on social media. The whole point of social media is that it's a tool to get people off of social media and onto either your list, your membership, your email list, something that pulls them off of social media. Because if Periscope stopped broadcasting tomorrow, or Blab went down, or Meerkat, or we didn't have YouTube, you lose access to all of the relationships that you've built. If the only time you're engaging with people is when they choose to watch your YouTube video or your live streaming or anything like that, you are not making a true connection, because it's only when they decide to get on. If they take a break from social media, they're taking a break from you, from your brand, from your tips, from your engagement. So whatever relationship that you've been building with people is now gone. And so before you even start coming up with a strategy, you have to decide, where are you going to lead these people? What are you going to have to offer them? And it doesn't have to be a sale or anything like that, but what are you going to give them of value outside of your social media? So with that in mind, there's 3 tips that I recommend to everyone, and we'll go through each of those. But the first thing is to know your audience. Know your ICA, which is your ideal client avatar. Marie Forleo, Kimra Luna, they're big on marketing around your ICA. And so that's number one. The second one is to be authentic And it sounds easy. It sounds like something that people are throwing around and everyone's saying, I'm so authentic. But it's actually a lot harder than you think to be authentic online and actually, promote your own brand. And then the third one is to be consistent. And so I know, Dr. Finch, you are very consistent with the Periscopes that you do, in your group and what you post, and it's just making sure across all social media that you're consistent. So the first one, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say thank you. Thank you so much.
So the first one of knowing your ideal client avatar, I always do this, and when you see me speaking, I always have like a left hand and a right hand, and I'm like, your ideal client has frustrations on one side, and they have this idea of where they're trying to get on the other side, and you should be the answer to getting them there. And so if you're talking to everyone, if you're talking to men, women, married, single, starting out in their entrepreneurship, people who have already had their journey, people who are young and old, you're not going to hit the same frustrations. So focus on one person. So I'll give you I always use this example because it's the easiest to actually recognize, is a mompreneur. And we'll say she's a married mompreneur with 2 kids who also has a career during the day, and she's maybe new to the entrepreneurial world, and maybe your product is health and fitness. So if you have that one person in mind, what you're going to do is speak to them when you write your blogs, when you have your Facebook posts, when you create your live stream. You always want the topics to relate to that person. So, if it's tips for squeezing in a workout for busy moms, if I'm a mompreneur, I'm going to be able to look at that and say, okay, that's for me. That's the power of knowing your audience. Your titles are going to grab them, and your titles are going to speak to them. So and another thing with knowing your ideal client is when you use hashtags. So if I use hashtag mompreneur, hashtag healthy eating, hashtag moms, when in my titles, you're going to attract those people who are looking for that, because Periscope, as you know, is connected to Twitter. Twitter is connected to Google search. We have that connection again, thank goodness. So that means if someone's searching for that at the time that you actually happen to be on your Periscope or that you've reposted your Periscope, people stumble upon you. And the internet is a huge place. So it's not just the people in your city or the people in your Facebook group. These are people around the world that are looking for the topic. So really knowing who you're talking to, so your ICA, knowing your ideal client, and marketing based on that. Do your Periscopes at times that they may be on, where they have a break, when they're going to be actually concentrating on their business or whatever you have to actually give them as far as knowledge. So whatever is going to attract them to you, really think about either their frustration or their desire. And so that's my biggest point. And so, Dr. Finch, I know that you're really good at that too. And I know that being an entrepreneur, we search out information. So actually knowing who you're, what people are looking for will get you a lot of followers and a lot of people actually searching for you and inbound marketing. And so the second point of being authentic, one of the things that we do when we have personal brands is that initially a lot of people start off trying to be corporate. Like, you're wearing your suit on your Periscopes and you're trying to use certain words and you're trying to, make it seem like you're smarter. A lot of people, when they're entrepreneurs, they say we a lot, and it's just you. You have that one-person team, but you're saying we at, Nina Simone Consulting like this. But if it's just you, say it's just you. Relate to your audience. If it's something you don't know, say you don't know. Focus on what you're good at. And I use this example a lot. I actually had in one of my groups that we do, and one of the mompreneurs that I was coaching was explaining how her audience wanted more about social media. But she wasn't a social media person. She was a mom who blogged. She loved to write. She knew how to convert people using writing. And so we talked about her being her authentic self. What you really need to do is write about blogging. Teach moms how to blog for money. Don't teach them how to do social media, because what happens is if you're on Periscope live answering questions, what's going to happen if they ask you a question that you don't know? If you're just trying to appeal to an audience, or you're trying to be stuffy and try to be someone you're not, they're not going to relate to you. People purchase from people they know, like, and trust, okay? That means they're going to see through it if you're being fake. They're going to see through it if you don't know what you're talking about, and they're not going to connect with you. You have to connect with them on a level, using their language, using your own language, using natural language, and really being yourself. And so there's people who cuss. If you cuss, cuss. If you're the type of mother that only, uses organic products in your cooking, then use organic products. Draw in that crowd. So you want to focus on what you're good at, what you're passionate about, but be yourself. Use your language. Be afraid to let people know who you really are. And that means sometimes sharing a piece of who you are and showing a lot of personality and being really true to who you are. The third point of being consistent. So one of the things that brings in a lot of followers is making sure you have dates and times scheduled. And I know it's hard, and I'm not discouraging people from doing one-off Periscopes and jumping on when they want, but some people have Periscopes they do every day, random times. They don't have a lot of followers. They don't have a lot of consistency. I do a Periscope every week at the same time. The titles are already actually built out, I think, for the next couple of months. I promote them in my group. I tweet about them. People know that on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock that they can find me on there. If for some reason I'm not on there, people will tweet me, they will ask me, they will inbox me. So being consistent, one, in your messaging, what you're talking about, and then three, the times, dates, and topics that you're doing. So if you're always periscoping about business, and then all of a sudden you're on there and you're the same time next week, but then you're talking about cooking, unless that applies to your audience, you may want to do that at one of your off times, or say it's a personal scope, or open up with that. But you want to be very consistent in your messaging, be consistent in your branding. When you actually have your profiles, when you have your text that you have in your profile, make sure they all lead to what you do, who you are authentically, and that they're appealing to your audience. So those are my main 3 tips.
Awesome, Nina. I can totally relate to that. When I'm periscoping, hello, my name is Dr. Akina Finch. I scope on education, motivation, social media. That way they know that one of these 3 topics is going to be covered. You introduce right off the gate. You let them know who you are, what you're going to talk about, and you stay in your vein.
Yes. And
you can tell when people come out their vein, because they're following them like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then,
and you don't get enough people. They'll drop off. They'll drop off very quickly if it's not. They come to see whatever you're the expert at. So if you're not doing that, they don't want to hear it from you.
Exactly. Yes.
So there's also a couple of things that you can do that, I told you about the 3 tips on kind of the mindset of what you do, but there's some things that you really need to do before, after, and during your Periscope that I think people are lacking. So one of the things is making sure you promote it like it's a regular event. So, for instance, if you're having a webinar, if you're having a podcast like we did, you create graphics, you have your topic, you put it on Facebook, you tweet it out, and don't just tweet it out once, don't put it on Facebook once, over and over and over again. So if it's next month, you can tweet it out every couple of days. You realize that on Twitter only has a very short lifespan. So if I'm following you and I happen to see it at that time, I'll see that tweet. If I'm not following you, I miss it. It's not like, Facebook where it lives a little bit longer. Twitter goes really, really fast. So tweet it out a couple times a day. Pin it to the top of your Twitter feed. Put it as an event on your personal page, on your business page, in your group. Have other people tag it, hashtag it. Make it an event that someone wants to go to. Put it in their face so much. I'm going live in 5 minutes, and a lot of the times you don't have to do this on your own. So IFTTT, which I always, I have a couple of YouTube videos on, you can use this free app to actually automatically post a picture on Facebook when you're going live on Periscope. So it basically says, you create an image that says, I'm going live in 5 minutes, or I'm live now on Periscope, because you'll get people who are already engaged with you on your Periscopes and who already know you. It makes you feel a lot more comfortable. So if you're making an event of it and you do some graphics in Relay or graphics in Canva, both of those are applications for beginners who really aren't graphic designers but know that they have to have graphics on social media. But promote it. Have others promote it. Use whatever you can to promote it before. And you could also use Touch.me to save your podcast. Not your podcast, your Periscope. So that means before you're promoting it, right? You use images, you use graphics, you make it appealing to everyone, and then you use Touch.me to extend the life of your Periscope. And so, Dr. Finch, you use Catch.me, right?
Oh, most definitely. And I definitely use autosave as well.
Yes. That's the point. So they do have a feature where you can autosave everyone. It's mindless. Again, it's another free tool. I love free tools. And so let me tell you what you can do with this. So Catch.me basically, and let me step back. Periscope, as you know, only lives for 24 hours. So on Periscope, your scope is gone after 24 hours, right? Then what do you do with it? You've lost that audience. You've lost the replay. But Catch.me actually, for lack of a better word, it actually catches your Periscope. It stays there, and there's a couple different options you can do. One, I would suggest you now put it into your social media rotation. So what does that mean? Put it on Facebook, put it on Twitter. Again, not once, not twice, but now it should be part of your evergreen content that lives forever and ever and ever. You could actually, tweet it out every couple days or once a week, etc. The second thing you could do with it is you can take it and embed it into your WordPress or your website. So create a blog out of it. So take it, put that video in your blog, and then write a blog about it. So now you have two pieces of content. Not only do you have a blog that talks about something that's pulling in people who are searching for that, you also have the video to go with it. And people love videos. They love visual. It's, what's hot right now. So make sure you now take that content and reuse it over and over again. Don't let it die down. And then the last thing, after your Periscope, you want to make sure and look at some stats. So Full Scope is a great app. You can go back and look at who joined, who followed you, what new followers you had. You can look at what comments came through. What I do is I use that information then to go back to Twitter, because remember it's connected to Twitter, and I thank people for joining, thank them for their comments. You could do contests. Whoever gives you the most hearts, you can give them a freebie. You can, there's tons of information. You could also look at how well you're doing, what types of topics actually work best for you, because anything you do, if you're not actually going back and seeing how you're doing it, you're not progressing. You're just kind of practicing. So you want to progress, you want to get better, but you also want to engage your audience. And I've had a lot of conversions happen after I actually reached out to people after the Periscopes.
Yes. Now, see that. Yes, let's explore that piece because the conversion is where it's at, right? And of course, we always hear the money's in the list, but with Periscope, you can bring people to the list to make the money, or better yet, a lot of people are making money off the DM, right?
Yes.
On Twitter as well.
Yes.
So, yes, let's explore that a little bit, shall we?
Yes, let's do that. So one of the things, and so let me step back a little bit too. Call to action is everything, and we'll come back to it, but you can't just end your Periscope saying bye. You can't just, okay, it's over, bye, go home. That's not, you're just leaving money on the table. You're leaving leads. You're leaving relationships. You're leaving collaborations, partnerships. So basically what you want to do is make sure that you have something at the end for someone to do. So we'll come back to kind of some ideas on that. But it goes down in the DM. I know you guys have heard that song, but you use that for business. On Twitter, you actually reach out to people. Don't let the connection on Periscope be one way. So, for instance, questions go by very, very, very fast on Periscope. I love Full Scope because I can go back look at the comments, and if I miss the question, and you could do this with, you don't have to use the Full Scope app. I could say that. You can do that. You can look at your own Periscope also. But I would suggest you go through Full Scope and you actually reach out to people and say, hey, thank you for tweeting me. Thank you for joining. Hey, I noticed it was your new time, your first time joining us, or there was a question that I missed. Here's the answer. Oh, my goodness, how many people, there's been people that had said, thank you, my connection dropped, I can't believe you reached out to me. Other people were saying, oh, I just thought you didn't see it. That's how you build real relationships online. And believe it or not, the way you actually enhance your presence online and your relationships and your money and your leads is building real relationships. Reach out to them, make sure you're answering their questions, make sure you look at their profiles, see who's joining your Periscopes. Is it the people that you really are targeting? If not, that means you may be using the wrong words. So go back and analyze that data. The other part of that, the call to action. A lot of people always ask, like, well, what do I use for call to action? What do I do? I don't have a freebie. I don't have a website. Anything could be your call to action. So what I would suggest is always having something that you're leading people to. So the end of your Periscope should always lead people somewhere. If you have a website, if you have a freebie, you could either write it on a piece of paper, or I do some simple graphics in Canva, and I actually hold focus on the screen and let people see that website, to go to my freebie, to join my Facebook group. And then that means not only did you give them some value during the Periscope, but you're giving them a free gift after. So if this is your first introduction to someone and you're dropping knowledge bombs and giving them all this information, then you're like, wait, there's more. Go to my site for a checklist. They're going to be very appreciative, and that's your first introduction, and they start to know, like, and trust you a lot quicker. If you don't have a freebie, you don't have a website, lead them to your Facebook page, give them your email, ask them to tweet you, asking them to follow you on Periscope. There's a lot of things you can do. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, but the point is you want to build a relationship and also somehow eventually get them off of social media and make a real connection with them.
Yes, that is key, Nina, because I tell my audience all the time, the whole point of you being on social media is to be social. You make your conversions on your website. You just be social on social media.
Yes.
So that they will want to make the connection. All right? And people think, that's why I said, y'all wonder why everything's not working, why it's not popping, when you're sitting up there saying, buy this, buy me, buy myself.
Oh, yeah,
because
I hate
that's not
that.
the place.
I hate it.
It's not
I hate
the place.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Lene Gervais, she's Coalsire. She's the founder and CEO of Coalsire. We did an interview a while back, and she was like, date me first. Give me a kiss. Take me out. And it was just the perfect analogy, because when you first meet someone and say you're dating, you're not going to be like, okay, let's get married, right? No, you're like, wait a minute, let me get to know you. I don't know if you're psycho. Right. I don't know if you know if what you said you are is who you said you are. So it's the same thing with online. So think of a brand like Coca-Cola, Walmart, right? If I'm in the store and I see a no-name brand and then I see Coca-Cola, I'm like, okay, well, let me get Coca-Cola. Or if they have something new, a new flavor, I'm going to get Coca-Cola. I know them. When you pass by McDonald's with the kids are going to be like, McDonald's. They know them. When people see you, they do not know you. They don't know you. They don't know who you are. They don't know if they can trust your brand. They don't know if what you're saying is true. They don't know if what you say that you're selling is going to actually be what it is. So what you have to do is use Periscope to make a connection. Don't use Periscope, and I know we're talking about monetizing Periscope. The key to monetizing Periscope is to actually just give value. Give them some points where they walk away like, oh, my goodness. Oh, I had someone who I'm now coaching her, but she said, when you first were on Periscope, I was following you. She said I was watching your Periscopes, and then you got sick, and I remember you coming back and saying you were sick. That's why you weren't on there, and I hadn't followed you. Then I followed you, and I said, I had to make sure and follow you. And so she's like, when you had packages available, I couldn't wait to work with you. That's what you want. It's not that instant, okay, I'm on Periscope, give me your money. It's building a relationship, showing them what you know, and it happens a lot faster than you think. People watch you a lot more online. There's a lot more lurkers than there are actually people who engage. And you have to take an advantage of just connecting with people that you may not have ever met before.
Yes, yes. All of these are such key points because at the end of the day, you know, everybody says, oh, I'm just going to get on Periscope and I'm going to sell my product and I'm going to do this. No,
yes.
It's a little bit more work to go with this. You know, and then they think, oh, this don't work because I haven't sold nothing. But have you approached them the right way?
Exactly.
Have you built the relationship? Have you made sure that, you know, you have built the credibility? Have you done these things?
Right, and all that,
so
it comes down to my 3 points. It's like, you know, you have to know who you're talking to because, you know, if you're marketing to everyone, you're marketing to no one. I know we all heard that. You have to be authentic. You have to know what you're talking about, and you have to let them know when you don't know. So if I don't know, and I pretty much know a lot of people in the digital world, I will refer you to someone. I'm okay with not having that sale because I cannot help you. You know, you want to make sure that you're being authentic in your brand and be consistent. Always, you know, you have to keep on going. You have to be consistent in your branding, in your message, in your speech, all of that. One of the studies showed, I believe it was from Rocket Post, that only about half of the people who log on to Twitter are actually on there to tweet. The other half are actually just lurkers. So that means out of 550 million people, half of those people are just lurking. What do you think they're looking at? They're watching you, they're engaging with you, and basically trying to see if you know what you're talking about. Eventually, they will actually find you. They will purchase from you, and it's inbound marketing. They're coming to you. You want people to come to you. You want people to apply to work with you. You want people to beg to work with you, to squeeze you in. You don't want people that you're begging for their money. It's not going to be a good relationship, and you're not going to be able to work with passion when you actually help them.
Perfect point. You know, Nina, I want to make sure that everybody knows where to find you so that they can get some more of these nuggets.
Well, Socially Nina, all online. If you just do a search for Socially Nina, one of the things that I've done is I've put together a little freebie for how to go live. And some of the things that we talked about, IFTTT, how to set that up, how to do a Canva graphic and all of that. I did some free tutorials, just bite-sized tutorials, and then also my kind of secret tips on how to convert lurkers to leads. So you go to sociallynina.com/go live. There's actually a free tutorial. They're all video tutorials that you can actually kind of go over some of the tips that we've talked about today.
Wow, Nina. Yes, this has been definitely informative. You know, I know that both of our audiences were eating this up.
Yes. and what's good is our audience usually is pretty much the same. So, you know, I love that's one of the things is collaborating with people that you know, that you trust, and that you appreciate their brand. You know that their audience will appreciate what you're talking about as much as your audience will appreciate, you know, what they're talking about.
And I do believe you're doing something special starting tomorrow. I would love for you to let everybody know about that so that they can support.
Yes, I am in Baltimore in this icy place. I'm telling you, there's ice all over. I am part of 72 Hours of Power. It's a retreat, and there's tons of people here. I'm so excited. It's 72 straight hours of conference. So it's like you're cramming it all into one. And like Allison Bird is here, Trevor Ott, Shay Brown. Like there's tons of people here, and we're going back to back and speaking. So I'll be speaking in a few times in different rooms. And then everyone's kind of switching. And so 72 hours of great content. You can go to 72hoursofpower.com and register. It is absolutely free. And you could spend your weekend getting a ton of knowledge from people who basically know what they're talking about.
Yes. Yeah, so definitely support Socially Nina at 72hoursofpower.com this weekend. Yeah, we're going to get some great nuggets. Great nuggets. Yes. Well, we're close to the end of the show, so I want to definitely let you end with a wonderful takeaway for our audience.
Okay, so a takeaway. Let me just see what I want to give you guys. I think one of the things that I've realized with social media is the more that you are yourself, and I'm talking about, and I know this gets scary, like if you're an introvert, be an introvert, talk to other introverts. If you are not on the video bandwagon, don't jump on that. Stay on blogs. Whatever you're good at, there's a need for that. And the more that you are yourself, the more people love you. And the more people love you, the more money will come, believe me. And it took me a while to actually really ease into being my authentic self. So I hope people know that, you can be yourself, and just because you are who you are, people will love you. And having a passion company means that you have to be who you are, and you have to love who you work with. So work on being yourself and appreciating yourself and valuing yourself. And believe it or not, that is the key to social media. It's the key to marketing. It's the key to success. And the more I work at that, the more successful I know I've become.
Awesome. I want to thank you so much for being on the show tonight. And if Nina said something tonight that resonated with you, please find this podcast on changingmindsonline.com. We're also on iTunes, Stitcher, Tuned In, and, of course, our YouTube channel. So with that being said, Jessica, do you have any closing words for us tonight?
Yeah, thank you so much for all that wonderful information. I was taking pages and pages of copious notes, and I actually haven't really used Periscope. I've used it once or twice. I am, definitely planning on getting started with it sometime soon, so I am excited about it. So thank you for being on the show and all that amazing information. And that's it. I always just end our podcast by letting our audience know that we just love you guys. We're so grateful for you. And thank you for following us, for letting us be part of your journey. And we just, we love you. And we'll be with you on Sunday night for our Empowering Faith series. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. And good night, everyone.